So somebody made a post on Facebook, right? And they were talking about blood quantum, which is basically how people categorize if somebody is Native American or not, right? Like literally, what is the quantum of Native American in your blood, right? So this woman, she commented under it talking about paper genocide is wrong. You can't erase my connection to my ancestors. You can't erase my native spirit. And I'm confused because what? Now look, I'm not Native American, right? But like, what make you think you got a Native American spirit? I really want somebody to make this make sense to me. I do, okay? Like, because I'm black, right? So I deal with something called the one drop rule. People will see a literal white person and say that they are black, right? They'll say, oh, one drop of black makes you black. And mind you, that's not any sort of compliment or anything. The one drop rule comes from white people saying that blackness is so dirty and inferior that somebody with a drop of it has to be black. It's that nasty, right? They can never be white. So if somebody is 99% white and 1% black, white people will say that they're black because blackness is just so, like you can never sit with us again, right? It's never been a compliment to black people, but a lot of black people have tried to take it and spin it into that, right? You'll see a lot of black people being like, oh, blackness is the dominant gene, so and so and so. Clearly never took a biology class ever in their lives, right? But again, a lot of black people have been trying to spin it into something positive. But my point is, because of this one drop rule, you often see straight up white folks talking about they black. Like, yo, I got into an argument with a black lady. And mind you, this is a black American woman before somebody tries to blame the diaspora or whatever, right? We were talking about, you know, who's black and who's not. Because we were watching this movie and there were no black characters. And I said that, I was like, why is it? Or maybe it was black characters, but no black women. I was like, why is it no black women, right? And then folks were like, oh, yeah, that character's a black woman. I was like, she's biracial. That's very calculated because why are there actual black men but no actual black women? Why is the only black woman a biracial woman? And why didn't they do that with the men? Why didn't they have a bunch of biracial men portraying the black men, right? Folks were arguing me down. Oh, she black. She got a black parent, so she black, right? And I was like, that doesn't make any sense because she got a white parent, so wouldn't that make her white? Using your logic, right? Can't I call her white too, right? And then there's one lady, she was like, she black. And mind you, she was getting real rude. Like, if she was my age, I would have cooked her. But, you know, I be trying to be respectful to my elders, right? So I was like, okay, girl, whatever. But she was like, yeah, the one drop rule is so and so and so. And I was like, you think that's a compliment to black people? Because it is not, right? So then I said, okay, according to the one drop rule, right, Drake the rapper is black, right? Because he has a black dad, right? And this especially applies to those of you all who claim that the lineage follows the dad's seed or whatever. So Drake's dad is black. Therefore, using your logic, Drake is black, right? Therefore, using your logic, his son is black. Clearly, his son is white, right? Like, clearly. But using your logic, his son is black because one drop of black makes you black and the seed follows the father and so and so and so. And then when his son has a child with a white woman, y'all are still claiming that child is black as well, right? And that's my point. This doesn't actually make any sense, right? So when I made that point, I will say most everybody in the conversation, they were all like, yeah, you know, like, you got a good point there, right? But that lady, she was like, no, Drake's something black, So I was like, okay, and now you just trying to prove a point because you can't admit that you're wrong, so you just saying some dumb shit, right? And that's one thing I can't stand in people. Like, at least, you know, take stuff into consideration to say, I'll think about that. That's a good point. You know, I'm going to think about that, right? But when you just loud and wrong and you know you wrong, but you can't admit you wrong, so you just keep being wrong willfully, that's ignorant. Like, now, I have to ask these folks, because this white woman sitting here talking about they can't erase the connection to my native ancestors. They can't erase my native spirit. I got to ask y'all, right? Like, for all my one-droppers and biracials and stuff who claim that they black, right? The same question applies to you all, right? How do you just ignore who you actually are? Because, like, this is a whole white woman talking about they can't erase my native ancestors. Girl, you got about one native ancestor on your family tree. You got a billion white ancestors, but you just ignored all of them and zeroed in on that one native ancestor. You talk about your native spirit and you 99.9% white. Like, What are we talking about here, right? Like I said, the same question applies to like biracials and one droppers, because biracials will always be like, I'm black because I have a black parent. Okay, what about the white parent? Oh, you can't erase my black ancestors. What about the white ancestors? Like, how are you ignoring who you actually are? The combination of two things. I don't get that at all. Like, and realistically, do you think that the ancestors take you seriously? Because, y'all, I'm not going to hold y'all. When I become an ancestor, I'm going to be cooking y'all. Don't call on me. If I'm your one black ancestor and you 99.9% white and you call on me, I'm going to wreck your life. I'm going to make sure nothing in your life ever goes right because you playing in my face, okay? So I have to wonder, do y'all really think that the ancestors take y'all seriously? You 60% white, 40% black, trying to call on some black ancestors. Why they got to do all the labor? That sounds like slavery re-envisioned, if you ask me. Like, come on now, right? Let's be for real. Like, this woman, 99.9% white, talking about her native ancestors. What, you just ignored all the million white folks and tried to call on that one native person? Like, what? I'm sorry, but y'all better not play with me like that when I become an ancestor, because it's not going to fly. It's not going to fly at all. You know what else I have to wonder, though? Because y'all claim to have such a deep connection with that one native ancestor, with those 12 black ancestors, right? And y'all completely ignore the million white ancestors, right? So you telling me you so deeply connected to that 1% of black blood, that 1% of native blood, whatever, right? But you're not connected to that white blood and the white ancestors at all, even though that's the majority of who you are. Because, like, realistically, if I go into a room, right, with one black person and 99 white people, the white people's voices are going to be louder. They're definitely going to be louder. Now, you might try to zero in on what the black person is saying, you know, but realistically, you're not going to be able to, because the white people are going to be over talking, you know, that one black person or that one native person in some of y'all cases, right? So you again are telling me that you don't hear nothing from them white ancestors. You only in contact with your black ancestors, your native ancestors, whatever. You don't hear nothing from them white ancestors. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Now, realistically, we all know why y'all are doing this, right? For two reasons. First of all, y'all trying to stake that claim for some payback in some way, form, or fashion, right? Like, you'll see literal white people applying for Native American scholarships, African American scholarships, so and so and so, right? So we already know we get how you getting down, right? And then also in the case of black people, y'all waiting for them reparation claims, okay? Cause y'all see the conversations picking up, and y'all are trying to stake y'all claim, right? Which also applies to the Native Americans, cause I mean, I'm sure we've all heard of a $5 Indian. Literal white people paying $5 for fake Native American documents so that they could get reparations that were intended to be for Native Americans. And it's funny because I say to black people all the time, because black people are the main ones hyping this up, right? In the case of, you know, the one drop rule and stuff, right? Because I'm not talking about the Native American community right now, right? But black people encourage this. Oh, how you gonna tell them they can't identify as so and so and so well? One time they ate some fried chicken, so they just as black as you and me, blah, 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 right? And I tell them, by the time reparations come along, right, 90% of the folks who's going to get it is going to be literal white people. And it's going to be because you all allowed them to. You all are the reason that these people feel so comfortable stepping into your identity, right? Now, don't get me wrong. They're going to try to play in your face regardless. But you should at least set some boundaries and say, no, you can't do this. No, right? But no, y'all don't do that. Y'all just be like, oh, yeah, this white person is black. And then you're going to be mad when it's time to get some black resources, some black something, and you don't get it. And a white person does. The other reason that y'all do this is because of something that I say all the time. White people are attempting to distance themselves from their role in white supremacy, right? If they acknowledge that white supremacy exists and that they are white, then the question becomes, well, what are you doing to stop it, right? As a white person, you clearly know that white supremacy exists, so what are you doing to dismantle it? The answer is nothing, because realistically, white people like white supremacy. And I mean, who's mad at that? We all like to be treated well, right? But they won't just admit that most of the time. So instead, they constantly try to, again, distance themselves from their roles as oppressors, right? That's why you'll see white people who have some sort of marginalized identity pretend that cancels out their whiteness. Like, y'all remember when white gay people used to say, oh, I can't be racist, I'm gay. Like, what sense does that make? What sense does that make? But they're attempting to distance themselves from their role in white supremacy. Mind you, they're the most racist ones, right? They stay dressing up as a black woman and imitating all of our mannerisms and so and so and so, right? But whatever, okay? You'll notice that white women, they'll always be like, oh, no, 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 we're innocent. And the only bad guys are the cisgender, heterosexual white male, so and so and so, right? You'll notice that every sort of white person who has any sort of marginalized identity is always trying to pretend that that marginalized identity takes the forefront and that their whiteness gets canceled out or takes the, the back burner, right? That's what they're trying to do here. But realistically, that's not the case, okay? Your whiteness is your primary identity, okay? I'll tell you that right now. Somebody who's black and a woman, my blackness is my primary identity. That is the reality, right? When I interact with non-black people, they don't oppress me on the basis of me being a woman. They oppress me on the basis of me being black. I remember when I was in graduate school, there was this one white guy who worked in the chemistry department. He was so rude. Like, at first, I thought he just was racist because, like, y'all, when I tell y'all, one morning he came in my lab section to fix up. Mind you, I was not the one who broke it. Whoever was leading the lab before me is the one who messed it up, right? So he came in there to fix it because I had called him like, I think it was the NMR machine or something. He came in there, I'm like, oh, good morning, right? He just, I was like, what the hell? Like, I emailed him after. I was like, let me tell you something. I didn't want to cuss you out in front of, the students, but don't ever come up in my lab section acting all funky like that again because I will drag you, right? And after that, he was very polite to me, right? Because I went off of him in his email, and in the end, I told him, a man is not, measured by how he treats the CEOs. He's measured by how he treats the janitors. So, yeah, okay, I'm beneath you in the chemistry department. I'm just a teaching assistant or whatever, right? But that says a lot about you, the fact that you that rude to us, right? But anyway, that's another story for another day, right? At this point, I thought this dude was racist because, again, he was just mad rude to me, right? But then one day I was talking to the other TAs. They were all white. And, they brought him up and they were like, yeah, he's like really rude. So then I realized, no, he ain't racist. He's just a rude ass bitch, right? But this one girl, well, no, wait, hold up. He could be racist. He probably is racist too, but, he also just a rude ass bitch. But no, this one white girl, right? She was like, yeah, like, I'm glad to hear everybody's going through this because, like, at first I thought he was discriminating against me. And yo, when I tell you, I was literally confused. I wasn't even trying to be funny or prove a point. I was like, discriminating against you on the basis of what? Like, what? So she was like, yeah, because I'm a woman. And I was like, oh, I guess you are. And I mean, that's fair. Don't get me wrong. Because, of course, when white women interact with white men, they're the same race. So gender is the only thing that matters, right? But they try to take that and apply that to other situations as well. Like, okay, yeah, sure. When you interact with white men, gender is the only thing that matters. Cool. But outside of that, baby, your race is the only thing that matters. Like, it does not matter that you are a woman when it comes to greater society, girl. You are white. And that's what a lot of white people try to avoid, right? They'll pretend that they are gay first and then white, or gay only, and not even white, right? They'll pretend that they are woman first or woman only and not even white or whatever, right? And it's like, no, you are white. But, all of this pretending that they're Native American and black and, oh, you can't take away my native spirit, my African ancestors, so and so and so. That's them again attempting to distance themselves from their role in this oppressive system. Honestly, I feel like y'all really need to stop playing though. Because like I said, if I was an ancestor and you woke me up from my ancestral slumber, right? You as a white person, I'm the one black person on your family tree. And you wake me up calling on me, I'm going to strike you the fuck down where you stand. Like, I swear before God, right? And mind you, I'd be one of the nice ancestors. It's some bad spirits and whoever and closed cultural practices and stuff that y'all don't need to be participating in. But y'all walk around pretending like y'all black. And okay, maybe that goes in society. Because like I said, it's black folks and Native Americans and stuff out here who will, humor y'all with that nonsense. Oh yeah, you're just as black as anyone, the one drop rule. You're just as native as anyone, no blood, quantum, so and so and so. And yeah, that might go in society, but when you stand in front of them ancestors, that's not gonna work. So y'all really need to be careful with that shit for real.